Gen Z employees are now being ordered back into the office after a long stint of work from home, and they are not happy about it. But the ones who aren't revenge quitting in retaliation are instead doing something in the office called task masking. And this goes beyond the age-old art of looking busy in the office when in reality you're just mucking about.
I saw this.
It
post.
goes further
You guys,
than
have
that.
you heard about
Hold, please. Okay,
Hello?
continue. Sorry.
It goes further than that because it's a response to being asked to work in person.
Yeah, they're very upset about that.
That's really what precipitated all of this, is that companies started demanding their workers show up at the office
I wish we
again.
could have had Tim for this segment because he's on a one-man jihad against distance working. He does not believe in like remote work.
Right. Every time that you say productivity isn't the same when people work from home, the people who work from home and are in the top like 0.1% of productivity and conscientiousness are going to say, how dare you imply that I'm not working from home? This is the way I get the most work done. Well, you're like the exception to the exception to the exception of the rule,
And
not the rule.
And there's the way jobs are structured is that the CEO at the top can work from his cell phone because he's making deals and contracts and building personal relationships. But if your job involves Excel spreadsheets and sending inane emails and requires you to have oversight and management, then unfortunately that's going to require you to be in an office where a guy in suspenders is going to come up with his coffee cup and
Working
ask you,
harder, hardly working.
working.
Yeah, if you're the type of person that is conscientious enough to get more done when you're not supervised, you should probably own your own business. Like, you'd be better off starting your own thing rather than being an employee. But for the rest of society, the vast majority of people, that is not true. But yeah, this recruiter on TikTok explained the concept and why this is such a self-sabotage for Gen Z workers in the future of their careers.
Yep. All right, here we go.
this new? I saw this post where someone was asking, "Can anyone who
that.
has?"
Yeah, I know it's.
I saw this post where someone was asking,
no.
"Can anyone who?"
Is it not working?
It's not working. Hold on.
It's inside the article if you wanted to
I
just
know,
play it from there.
Let's go back. Hold on. It was in the top of this.
Yeah.
One here. Yeah.
asking, Gen Z is doing it, and it's not a good look.
Okay, first, before she goes on, like, I don't buy the, like, Gen Z may have given it a name,
Oh yeah.
but there are plenty of, like, I think a lot of this
they
stems.
love naming things.
I think a lot of this stems from, there's a certain level of hopelessness that's felt by both generations where, like, all this work doesn't matter because I'm never going to have the things I want in life anyways, so why try? And that's a very hard thing to combat right now.
That's reflected in the comments for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. All right, so apparently this workplace trend that's blowing up on TikTok, but it's quietly killing careers. It's called task masking, and it's the art of looking busy, like typing loudly, fake meeting.
That would be me if I got like if I went and got like a full like instead of the regular keyboard, got the raised keyboard so that it was really loud every day when I was typing, or every day like
And
okay.
I'm sitting across from you and we're like, damn, Britt's getting a lot of work done.
Like, and then like somebody's walking by, it's like, okay, save file to folder.
I will say,
click.
even when I am actually working on something, I feel like I need to look more busy while I'm actually.
It's because you're a decent multitasker. I can't multitask. When I'm working, that's all I can do because I can't multitask.
It's, walking around with the laptop looking like it's an accessory. And here's the thing, if you're doing this, you're not fooling your boss, you're only hurting your career. And I've been reading articles in the Post, Fortune, you name it. And basically what it's saying is that managers aren't blind. If you're task masking, you're signaling two things. Either you don't have enough meaningful work or you don't think what you do matters. And both of those, they're career killers.
Wait, doesn't that actually imply that the boss gave them too much? Like, shouldn't, if the boss knows that you're task masking, shouldn't he have shorter deadlines and then give you more work?
Yeah, so I don't think that she's
This seems
right
like a
that they're
fail
wise
of
to
middle
it.
management, ladies and gentlemen.
She is incorrect that they know. They don't know.
So why is this happening? 3 words: return to office. Companies are forcing people back, but many of these employees, especially Gen Z, feel like their present doesn't equal productivity. And they're not wrong, but here's the flip side. 70% of people who fake productivity say it
She's very Canadian if she says productivity.
doesn't affect their workplace results, which means that companies are rewarding performative work instead of real contributions. And that's a leadership problem. So if you're guilty of task masking, listen up. You are not just wasting time, you are stalling your own career growth. And here's how to break the cycle. 1, stop mistaking desk time for results. Your career isn't built on hours logged. It's built on results, relationships, and reputation. This is the kind of stuff that I talk about on here all the time.
This is going to fall on deaf ears, and we'll just stop her there. She's trying to give advice to a generation of workers who genuinely don't care about having illustrious careers or respect or recognition, or even
look, if they got LinkedIn and they're worried about like that, I think that's a broader generalization, and she's giving this to the people that do care.
I suppose
like you can't say that
the people
none
who
of them
care.
do.
The people who care are not guilty of this. Therefore, the people who are pretending to be busy aren't going to take her advice.
But what I think what she would be hoping to fix here is like there's somebody who doesn't realize quite yet that you're sabotaging yourself by doing this, and it might be too late by the time you get there.
Here were some of the comments. They were not kind. But one said, I have only ever seen taskmasters get promoted. It fools every boss. Another one
That
said,
depends on if the company's results based or not.
Right, exactly. A Gen Zer said, we don't care about careers. We want freedom. And another one. Well, that's true. In all the surveys that I've seen, Gen Z employees say they don't care about the work they do as long as they have work-life balance and they're able to prioritize themselves. They don't care what they do or if they have meaning in their job. They don't look for meaning in their job.
See, but then I see the other ones that are saying that Gen Z wants to work for companies that are doing good and want to relate to the company because they believe that it has a good cause or a good motive in its job, which is why they virtue signal so much at these companies now. Is that just crossed wires and one of them's wrong?
I don't know. I feel like that is more so expressed in the preferential treatment they expect when they're at work. Meaning they expect the sensibilities of the older generations they work with to conform and be malleable to theirs, to the younger workers' sensibilities. Another comment said, people reporting this need a life. And I
mean, this lady clearly like has a career about trying to inform, employees or workers.
This was true. Boomers mastered task masking. They just didn't boast about it on social media. They were the smart ones. They didn't tell on themselves by creating a stupid nickname for everything that they were doing. They just pretended to be busy, and now they're resting on their laurels.
Maybe what this really means is we're going to get some truly great piece of art similar to Office Space in the year 2025. Maybe it's time to make Office Space for the new generation.
Didn't they say that they were going to, or am I
so. I think I
mistaken?
saw that
I think they are developing a reboot.
Except for they wouldn't destroy a printer. I suppose they would destroy a
what would that even be?
I don't even know. What would they destroy now? See, the thing is like printers haven't evolved. Like printers are as awful now as they were when Office Space came out.
Even with Bluetooth,
that's
even worse.
Never works.
Literally worse.
Like Olivia has the only printer that I've ever seen work on a regular basis.
Jared May said, "Mary, honest question: is your hair length natural or extensions? Brett, were you or were you not task masking during the debate between Tim and Evita Alfonso Duffy about TikTok?" Were you task masking last night?
No, because I actually asked her a couple of questions.
Or that wasn't last night. That was last week.
Last week. That's not task masking. See, if I was task masking, I would have like no. In fact, I'm just not working. I think I was looking at my phone at some point. Maybe not at that time, but
just
no.
not even pretending to be involved.
I don't think I was task masking at that time. Now, however, I was task masking the time that Tim and Elijah Schaefer talked about Israel.
Oh yeah.
That was alto task masking. I was just sitting there pretending to care.
We were literally just like looking at each other every once in a while, like,
I don't care.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, like, can I go?
Why are we here?
Like, that would have been really funny to interject and be like, so can I go or what?
Yeah, I'm a head out. I'm gonna see myself out. Thanks for having me. My hair is not extensions. It is hair that grew straight out of my skull. Now, another way that companies are trying to convince their workers not to revolt after working in person again is by offering them recharge days, as also they're offering stipends for your self-care fund. They're also even offering paid sabbaticals, wellness centers, like spas within the office.
Look, guys,
this is all real.
You're not ever expected to actually use the recharge days. Let's be honest. It's in the corporate world. You can take the recharge days, but you are going to get side-eyed by your boss so hard if you do that.
Let me look at some of these examples. They say Jackson Healthcare, Intuit, and Sheets, as well as many others, provide workers with wellness centers where they can exercise, receive nutrition advice, or talk through mental health struggles.
Okay, here's my hope. Because I'm assuming that they mean Sheets corporate employees. But in my heart of hearts, what I want it to mean is for all the employees. Because there's some amazing employees at Sheets that I absolutely get a kick out of and really, really enjoy talking to whenever I go in there. And in my mind, I'm picturing a day where he's like, these guys are just getting the worst like customers. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to the sauna, and there's like a button in the back room.
It's like a secret lair.
Like a painting opens.
Yeah.
And then he gets like beamed down to a secret lair with a sauna and a whirlpool.
You know, they really could just make up for it by giving the Sheets employees free milkshakes.
Yeah.
That's what they should have.
And most of the time, let's say I can already predict what the Gen Z employees are going to say. How about more money?
Right. Exactly.
We would rather have more money.
But that's valid. I mean, they would be right to ask for that. Nonprofit healthcare provider Wellstar Health System has a range of benefits, giving its workers a breather, including 16 wellness rooms across their major locations, the spa-like spaces complete with massage chairs, calming music, healthy snacks.
Does this come with a Friday pizza party?
And it's successful. They say turnover for that company decreased by 10% when they implemented this. Companies are paying workers a stipend to prioritize well-being.
Here's the thing. You asked about the lady in the previous segment making the TikTok. Women like that are the ones who end up being the lion's share of the sources for the research that goes into stuff like this.
Yeah.
Her sharing this information is just how she monetizes what she's learned working in the industry. But those are the people that are helping these companies figure out how to trick you into staying without giving you a raise.
So she also looks like the chick who fires you on a Zoom call.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For sure. One luxury resort offers a 4-day work week when fully staffed. They say it prevents overstaffing during slower periods. And another company offers Flex Fridays where you can leave after 1 p.m. and get an early weekend. Then others opt for recharge days where company-wide breaks to provide a structured downtime. There's an annual Me Day at HP for the same reason. IHG provides 3 recharge days per year.
Do you have to take it today? Sorry, but we've got reports due tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can you take it the day after?
It just feels
Sir, I'm having a
manipulative.
mental breakdown. Boss, I'm having a mental breakdown. I have to take it today. Yeah, that doesn't really work for us.
One software provider provides a full week closure of the entire company in July every year. And one law firm goes a step further and they allow employees with 10 years of service to have a paid sabbatical of 4 to 8 weeks, and then it repeats every 10 years after that to rejuvenate them.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about it.
If you've worked there for 10 years,
Yeah,
that's
you
how
get-
you earn it, of
Yeah.
course. So Gen Z's
I
off
mean,
limits.
this was one of those things where my dad would, who never took any time off ever. You know, he was absolutely that guy where it's like, either take the days off, use them or lose them eventually. But he had all these days off saved up, and then he would use them every so often. When we had a long week, when there was like a long weekend where you got like a Monday off, he'd take the Friday off so that he'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. And that was him, you know, manipulating time to get extra time off.
Well, they say that Delta, in this article, they say Delta allows their staff to work a longer shift during 4 days of the work week.
Lots
so
of
that they can get
psychologists do
Friday
440s, do four 10-hour days rather than 5 8-hour days.
Yeah. And I asked you before we were streaming if you had the option for us to do 4 3-hour long streams per week rather than 5 2-hour long streams per week so we could have Friday off. Then would you do it?
I think I might have changed my mind on that because it would affect the amount of segments we'd have to do. So we'd have to find
well, our job is just so weird anyway.
Yes. So we normally, like today we did 5, but the goal is normally we try to do 3 or 4 6-topic days in 1 5-topic day so that we have enough to fill 4 segments a day and then 4 a day on Saturday and Sunday when we're not working. So we'd have to move it to 8 segments a day. And then there would be, I don't know, like the show would start to struggle by the end of that period. Like when we have like milestone episodes, that's a lot of that last hour is just interacting with you, the audience. So it's different. But if we're up to me, I'd just do like a Saturday stream where it's just audience interaction, no planning, no nothing, just
It's always funny when these
just
topics,
talking to y'all.
We cover these topics about work culture, and without fail, people understandably comment things like, hey, you don't have a real job, you don't know what it's like, so everything you're saying is invalid. And half of me, like, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
And
It's
like,
definitely not a regular job.
I saw Megyn Kelly recently talking about how women who dedicate themselves to their careers should still expect to have the same dating prospects and date men who are at a similar level, like career-wise. And then I saw like Matt Walsh responded to her and he disagreed with her perspective on it. But she's basically saying that, you know, you as a woman can realistically dedicate yourself to a full career and expect to find the same amount of dating prospects and marriage prospects. And I don't even know what I think about that. But the reason why it was received so poorly is because Megyn Kelly said it. Because she's not a normal person with a normal job.
Yeah.
Because she talks for a living. And we do that. That's our job. And no one is going to take you seriously. Everyone knows. I think Cernovich pointed out, it's just, I do it too, Megan, but like, we both know that we don't have a real job that has the same demands and the same time commitment and the same grind that an office job has, like a desk job. And for the most part, you would like to spare yourself that.
Yeah.
So she just doesn't seem to realize that she's
Even
the
if your
exception
job-
speaking
even-
to the rule.
I mean, look, even if your job is arguably with her, the risk is on her too because her name is attached to the show, so she has to deliver results, which is not the same. Like when we talk about task masking, it's because you like the results. Your job is not imperative to the success of the company inherently, right? Like if Tim decides to task mask, then everyone's screwed, right? Because you know things aren't getting done, but.
We also kind of don't have the option.
For like we have a requirement of amount of segments that we have to reach a day, that have to
very
get done.
clean cut.
But again, if you try to pitch that to somebody who works a blue collar job, they're going to laugh at you.
Right.
And you just have to accept that they're not going to understand whatever amount of work you put into it, even if it is comparable in some way to somebody else's job. It doesn't matter. Like, again, this is why I say it's not that serious. My job here is to give you background music to listen to, or background noise to listen to while you're at work. And all the other things that are required to get done in a day is superfluous because they don't care, and it's not their job to care. The audience doesn't need to, resonate with us on what our job is. It's ridiculous to imagine to do so.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons that you do have, I do have so much respect for the people who go out and do this on their own, because they're taking that risk themselves. If they have to go and put out content every day, well, that's one thing if you're getting paid. That's a whole nother thing if that is your job, like, on your own. And if you don't make, if nobody watches, you get no views, you get no ad revenue, you get no sponsors, then you don't eat. That's another risk entirely.
Most of the time it's a side hustle that's on top of their normal
I
day
tend
job,
to find,
which is even more impressive.
I tend to believe that the best are the ones who do it as something they love to do on the side.
Yeah.
Because they truly get, like, all of the podcasts that I love the most, or the YouTube channels that I love the most, it's not their job. Like, it's something they do because it's part of a passion that they've cared about for a long, long time. And I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, I listen to both, people who podcast for a living and people who do it as a hobby, and I like both for their own reasons.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.